if we found that woman, I feel like she was like, I started performing my poetry after that. Like, she's like,
Are you the villain? Is your story that all these people who do these great things in life were burned by you at some point?
They were inspired by me. You know?
Welcome to On the Apps, the relationship and dating podcast. I'm Julian, a comic in New York City. This is...
I'm Robin, Julian's wife / an attorney in New York City.
And we are here with the amazing...
Jared Waters.
Jared Waters. I
went to your wedding.
Yes, you performed. You crushed at our wedding.
What a great wedding. That was fun.
It was really fun.
Heck yeah.
My friends were so confused because they're like they're fancy. I don't know. They did normal weddings. And I was like, yeah, it's a comedy show. And they were like, what is this? And I was like, this is the wedding. They're like, who's that guy? I was like, it's Jared. Is that the celebrant? And I was sort of.
I felt like I was so underdressed at a wedding. I was like, freak, everybody's dressed up because Billy and Cody didn't tell me anything. Like, can you do this spot? And I was like, yeah. Then I got there. Then outside, they're like, it's a wedding in there. I was like, holy yeah. There's a wedding here? Someone must have dropped out. I think someone dropped out because they hit me the day of.
Oh no, they definitely.
Someone dropped out.
Well, I requested you.
Well, you
did?
Yeah.
It was Robin's list. We said book everyone Robin wants, and we gave that months in advance. So
wait, maybe there's another show that I did where like they want to spur them on, but no. Maybe that was another show, but I remember the wedding. I was like, well, no one told me it was a wedding. So I was like, oh man, I'm freaking. I had a collared shirt on, but I had like a black vest. It
was chill.
You were perfect.
That's what we wanted. It was funny because everyone was dressed up. I was in a suit. Billy was in a suit.
Yeah.
And just me walking in. Black vest on.
Who was the woman who was on who made fun of it? Was like, wait, this is your wedding?
Yeah, and I think Onika.
Yeah.
Onika
oh yes, it was Onika out there. Yeah.
She was like, this woman is probably going to be a dog. I'm expecting this bride to be a dog. She let her husband have a comedy show. Her up and coming comic husband.
Yeah. Where else? She goes, I was like, what? She goes, there's a wedding in there. I was like, it's a wedding. I was like, I gotta start reading these messages. I just be saying yes. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
Just turn it up. No, it was a wedding. We had a ceremony before that, and then we had a lunch with all our family.
The ceremony was on our roof, and we wouldn't have had it, but I forgot my ID at the courthouse. So we scrambled.
Do you know the comic? God, I'm forgetting her now. She was our celebrant, but she
was celibate.
Celibate, maybe that too. I believe I'm forgetting, but I booked her on some service. Turned out to be a comic.
Is it Maria Costa or something?
That's it. Maria Dakotas.
Maria Dakotas.
Anyway, she came in and did it, and then we had a nice little lunch, and then we did that, and then I had we had the after party at Vig Bar.
Vig Bar, going only comedy spots.
Was Vig Bar? Did they used to do comedy? I never
they do it every Sunday.
Really?
Every Sunday, yeah.
Oh.
Is it a show?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's that back room. That's where we did ours. It seems like be packed in there, right?
And then I think there's a party tonight out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go crash it.
Yeah.
We'll crash it. So, you are not currently in the wild. Is that right?
I'm not in the wild. No.
Married man.
Married man, but I was in them streets internationally. You know
International man of mystery.
Internationally, I was out there. I lived in Japan, Netherlands. So like when I was dating, I was like outside the country dating.
How long ago was this?
I went to high school in the Netherlands, high school in Japan. My dad was in the military.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, on an Air Force base, it's like just being with wolves. It's really what it's like. Everybody's a wolf. There's nobody safe. Everyone's going after your girl. And it's like that. Dog, I remember my girlfriend at the time, when I was in Japan, her brother used to give me a hard time all the time, like Jared's a player, all this other stuff. And I just moved there, so I didn't even have any chance to like queue up the roster. I was just freshly there. And I remember he gave me a hard time. He made her break up with me. And then I remember his best friend was the one that ended up his best friend. Love is like a TKO. He definitely TKO'd his best friend's sister. And I was like, man, the whole time you're watching me, but this guy,
that was
your best friend. But I said, Yokota Air Force Base was nothing but wolves. So there wasn't enough girls on the base, not a lot of dudes on the base. And the high school was right next to all these young airmen. They're like 18, 19. Mm-hmm. So they were going to the high school to get girls.
They're stealing, you can't compete.
So it was just like everywhere. So then I realized, I was like, let's just go to another base and let's just go off base and go to the local people. And that's when I started going like Japanese. I started dating like everywhere I went, like off base. I was off base. My freaking prom, I was like 17 and I took a girl who was like 23. She's from Morocco. And I remember even my teacher looked at me like, boy, I said, yes, sir. Yeah, where'd you find this? Don't worry about where I found it. Just know I'm out in that wild. That's what I am.
Wait, was this in the Netherlands or
I was
Japan?
in the Netherlands.
And yes,
Netherlands.
She was a
And
local lady from Morocco. Or like
she's
she was
Moroccan.
like.
I remember we were dating because I was telling her, I was like, you ever been to a prom? She's like, American prom? I was like, yeah, you want to go? She's like, I would love to go. Then I was like, just don't tell them your age. And they could tell she was older than me because she was just like way more mature. She wasn't mature, but it was just like, I was like 17. So I was like, but I had a beard, like a small little pencil beard. But I remember coming to prom. I remember my wrestling coach looking at me like, yeah, I said, that's what I'm talking about.
Now you're the coach.
She spoke Dutch, and my best friend at the time, his girl spoke Dutch, so it was like really cool. That's when I just realized, like, man, why do we have to just stay with Americans? I can just go off base and really see what this country's about. And they just they love American men, like around the world. Like I remember, like we would be at a regular amusement park, and this dude told me, just write down your number on a piece of paper and pass it out. I was like, what? I'm not gonna do that. And by the time it was like a couple people just grabbed me and just like, hey, you're American? You're a Blake American? I said, that's what it looks like.
Say that?
Yeah, you're a Blake American? Real? I said, yeah, it's pretty real.
Real.
So they were just enamored by like music and culture. Like, you know P. Diddy? I was like, yeah, I know P. Diddy. You know Usher? Yeah, I know Usher. That's my cousin. So I would say anything. And just European women were very like forward. They're very straight to the point. I remember being at a club because you could party at like 16, and the drinking age was like 16 in Germany, drinking age is 17. So I remember just us partying really hard in like high school. And I remember this German girl walking up to me like, are you like pussy? I was like, pussy, what? And she was like, I told look at you all night, but you don't dance, you don't take my number, you're like pussy. I was like, I'm not a pussy, but they were just so used to men being forward.
Yeah.
And so when I got back to America, I was very straightforward, and a lot of people couldn't take my brutal honesty, like how I felt about certain things. Like when I went to the Netherlands, I noticed like to never hold my tongue at all.
But did it feel? Was it like a culture shock to go? Because that, like, your formative years of dating would have been overseas, and then you come to America as like an adult now. You're
like 17, 18.
17, 18.
Dog, freaking a first date. I remember this old dude told me in the Netherlands, since prostitution's legal, a lot of chicks don't like you paying for dates. You pay your way, I pay my way. We're going
Dutch.
Dutch. Right?
That's why
We're going Dutch, baby.
That's what this old man told me.
Is it really because of prostitution?
interesting.
Well, I mean, a lot of chicks out. I remember like taking chicks out. They would always be like, "No, I got it. No, I got." Or you.
Their half or the whole thing?
Sometimes they would pay for mine.
Oh, wow.
I guess if they're 23 and you're a child,
right?
Probably makes sense.
Well, I was 17. I was a man in black houses. That's a man right there. He could sign a record label at 17. But I did hook up with the lunch lady in high school. I was 16. She was 26. I don't think she should have did that. But at the same time,
did anybody find out about this?
Yeah. All my friends were snitches. Like, not my close friends, but like sometimes you got haters in high school.
Yeah, of course.
And like he snitched and told the school. But the thing was, I don't know why she thought I was 19 in high school. But
I thought he was slow.
I don't know. I remember it got weird because like I had lunchtime and I would just go there get cheese pizza and like French fries, and she would like hook it up. And then one time she was like, "You want to hang out after this?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's." I was always flirting the whole time. And then I guess she thought I was like an older thing, but I was like my junior year. And then I remember like we had like lunchtime chilling out there, and she like came to like sit out there in recess. I was like, "Hey, you about to get fired? What are you doing?"
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah.
So she either thought you were a child, or she thought you were like very delayed.
You got to think about it too. Like this is like I was a football player, wrestler, so I had like these guns and these pipes.
Gotcha.
So in her mind, and you got to think Europe's just different. You know, she probably I was 17, 16. I was 16, but I looked like 18. But it was just a culture shock because everything was like free game. They let kids become adults there. Like 16, you can drink. 16, you can do whatever. Like in my high school, we had a smoking section.
Really?
So, yeah. I was into an international school.
Oh my gosh. And it's like, they also don't have these same puritanical values where it's like, don't have sex till marriage. Like, you better have sex before you get married.
Shrooms. I remember they were like, you can go and put €2 and get like shrooms out of like a vending machine.
Really? For
So
€2?
€2. That's back in 2006 when I was there. So it was just like, you were just open to everything.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you're open to everything, you don't do a lot of things because it's already there. You don't have the temptation of doing things. So I remember just being in the Netherlands, and the lunch lady, we hooked up. And then I remember I told one boy, and he told my other boy, and he told this chick I was talking to, just freaking snitch. He was always a hater. That's what his name was. Sometimes, and I realized too, with me, I don't let anybody rewrite history. Like my boy, we're in Ohio, and he was just telling me about all these girls he hooked up in high school. And I was like, what high school did you go to? Because that wasn't mine. That did not happen at all. We did not talk to the same girls at all because they told me that you tried to talk to them and you never did. And the thing is, since I came from Japan where all these wolves are there, I was always just knowing how to move, how to teach you how to root. Like I just always knew how to move. But nobody was ever out in the wild until I got into the wild. And I was like, why are we stressing over American chicks when we're in the Netherlands, we're in Germany, we're in freaking Norway? Let's just meet all these beautiful women and have fun out there. So that's where I was. I was always off base. I was always just in the wild with the people.
That's the key.
With a man.
So then when I came to America, this chick asked me to take her out on a date. And I was like, yeah. So we got to the movies. And I didn't bring a wallet. I didn't bring anything. So I thought she was paying for everything. And she goes, what's wrong with you? I was like, well, you asked me to go out. And she goes, this is the South. This is chivalry. You need to go get your wallet. And we had to go back and get my wallet.
Really?
Yeah, we had to go back. And we're watching like the Saw movie. And I was like, I don't got my wallet. She's like, what type of scrub are you? I was like, scrub? She's like, you are not in the Netherlands. We're in the South. So I had to go get my wallet and pay for the chick. I mean, it was a culture shock. I had to get used to be like, okay, this is different now. Now I had to be accustomed, not used to like women coming up to me. I had to become the wolf. I had to become like, put it back in there. I had to get back in like the Japanese mode, how I was. And it was like a culture shock because I'm like a spade. Like I call it how I see it. But I learned that being around European people. Like the women were more aggressive, but the men were more emotional. Like I remember like European dudes like walking up, please brother, don't talk to my girl. She likes Black Americans, you're a player. I was like, man, get the freak away from me. No, I'm not. But it was just that era of
You're
just
like point me in the direction of your girl.
But we rode like deep. It was like when like you would come to a club, like to the point where they just stopped letting Americans come to clubs because there's always like fights and everything else. But we just all came. It's like when George Bush was in office, like almost like when Obama was in office too. Like Obama 08, I was there in 08. So it was just more like a different culture shock of just like dating. Going from just like women being forward in your face to like chivalry and just understanding. It's like my dad was chivalrous to my mom, but like they didn't live in Europe. They didn't live in Japan with me. They didn't know the type of life I was living. I think it was only one time my dad knew, because prom, he goes, my senior year of prom, he goes, who are you going to take to prom? Then I was like, I got 2 dates. And then my dad's eyes looked up. Then my mom goes, you better talk to that boy. He shouldn't have 2 women to go into prom. And they're Southern people. You better talk to that boy. And he had to talk, you really got 2 dates? And I was like, no, I don't got 2 dates. Good. You go take this girl from the church. And I was like, yeah, I took her.
You did?
My senior year, I went American, you know. And to this day, you know, it was more of a family decision. Sweet girl, but you know, it was, but like when I got back to America, it was just like, it's hard for me to let things slide. And I should let things slide, but like, I remember, I had this girl in college, this light-skinned chick, pretty chick, but like she would always just black out on me. Like all the time.
Like she would drink too much and black out?
No, just like not even drinking, just like having time to just black out on me and just scream at me and stuff. But we were all in the same friend group. So then I was like, let me make sure like we break it off easy because we all got the same friends. I'm not doing it. But she's like, hey, I went to the store. I found you a shirt. I went, what size are you? I was like, no, don't buy me clothes. Because I don't like people buying me stuff because that means you can always take it back.
Yeah.
So one time she's like, you're just a player. You're a player. And I was like, it was, but that wasn't who I was. I was like, let me just take a break from the game, see if I can do this for a while. And I remember her just like fussing me out in front of all my friends, like, Jerry, you're not Eddie Murphy. You're not that funny. And I was like, man, this. And then after she would say all that, she would come back to the room and just cuddle all night. And I was like, maybe that was her.
That's her like foreplay?
That was her method of just like, that's how she was, you know? And I'm the type of person who's like petty. So then I was just like, it was like we were just planning with my friends his birthday party. He was like 21, and we like had a big old house party. And I tried to break up with her before the house party because I knew I was about to get wild at that house party. So I was trying to be like,
strategic.
Listen, this is not going to work. You know what I mean? You're a sweet person. And I was like, I'm going to get back to who I really am. I'm trying to enjoy these college years. And I remember her showing up to the house party because I didn't think she'd come. My shirt is off. My shirt is off. Everybody's shirt is off. We're just partying. And I remember her sending this. I wish I had it on my phone, but it's on my flip phone. Her sending this this is when you had to pay for like messages. Yeah. So she like paid to send me this. She goes, Jared, you're the scum of the earth. You're the scum of the earth. You're nothing but a player. This was the worst time of my life. I can't believe I did like that. And I read it in front of all of our
my
friend
God.
group. I flipped it open, and because it was like the next morning. And I was like, look, guys, I got to roast her back. And she was light skinned. She had big ears. And I said, the first text I said, I was like, listen, DW from author. I flamed her. I think she was like, I remember when she was like 19, she dated a 25-year-old. I was like, good luck getting back with R. Kelly. And then, I like flamed her, like roasted her to the point where like my mutual friends had to call me. It's like, we saw that text message. I'm going to fight you when I see you. And I was like, did you read the text message she sent me? But that was just like that growing up in Europe of just like not holding anything back.
Yeah.
I think, I'm never fond of like getting into these kinds of verbal spats, but I really think if somebody says you're not funny and you're a comic, that's like your dream. That's shitty.
I was like 18. Yeah, I was like 18, 19. I hadn't even got into my comedy. I was doing like stand-up in college, but I wasn't even like into it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was always the type of person where like I can't let anything slide.
Getting called scum of the earth. That's deep. That's tough.
She didn't expect me to hit her back like that because I was hitting her with like some, not even low blows, but just like, if you tell me any information, it's like a roast battle. When they tell you information, that's information I could use on you. So when I would go out on dates, I feel like when we talk about apps, I think Facebook was the first dating app. Because you had all the information, you had all the pictures, and you knew how to maneuver. Back in the day,
you could poke people.
You could
remember
poke. Yeah, I remember poking people.
That's so weird.
2 o'clock in the morning, boop, boop, boop. Poke me back. Oh, we got a hit. We got motion. We got some motion. That Facebook poke was everything. And I remember this chick in college. She was like brown. I don't know what her ethnicity was because her dad left her, but she definitely looked. She looked like. I would say Iranian mixed with a little pop, whatever she was. We had a class together, and we met each other at like a flag football event, and then she was like, oh, hey, and I was like, oh, we got class together, yeah. So then I found her on Facebook, and back in the day, Facebook used to tell you all this information. So when I read her information, it's like, where are you from? She's like, something Wallaby Way. It's like Finding Nemo, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, this chick really loves Finding Nemo. So I changed all my things to Nemo quotes. Everything. So it was like Facebook, like, what's your favorite quote? What do you want to do in life? I was like, my whole goal in life is to find Nemo. So then when she added me, she's like, oh my God, we got so much in common. I love this movie. I had to rewatch the movie. I had to polish up on the movie because I had seen this movie since I was a kid.
Notes on Finding Nemo.
And I remember our DMs was just like, the first thing she said was like, wow, we got so much in common. And I was like, yes, we do. I said, my whole life I've been trying to find Nemo. She goes, that's my favorite movie. I said, maybe we should watch it sometime. Boom, that was it.
Boom.
That's how the wolf does it? That's
it was a wolf, man, straight up. The reason why I like being a wolf, because a wolf doesn't hide, man. You know what I mean? Not a wolf in sheep's clothing. I feel like if you're a wolf, you got to be that, you know? Like if I tell you who I am, you got to believe everything that I am. I'm not trying to pretend to be a sheep. I'm letting you know in the beginning, like, hey, and that's just learning that from Europe. So we exchanged numbers. I think I said, like, she was like a big Patriots fan or a Baltimore Ravens fan. I was like, yo, if the Pats beat the Ravens, you got to cook dinner. And then after that, boom. But we were in a triangle. She was talking to me and talking to a dude that lived in like an apartment next to mine. And he was driving his car. And one time he seen it with me. And then he just calls a mutual friend of ours and goes, hey, Jared, what's going on? I was like, who is this? And he told me, I was like, are you talking to her? He goes, no, man, you got it. But like since I grew up around the world, I knew what that message meant. That meant like, hey, I got a couple minutes to like see what I can do to crash out. But yeah, I'm always just like military, tactical. You know what I mean? Like I think when you're meeting somebody, like it's always your whole goal is to show yourself like you're the best spawn, like a peacock. You're putting out the big feathers to be like, is this feather for me? Is this pretty one for me?
And
well, yeah.
what were you looking for? If you are like showing out yourself, like what do you think is her role? Is like, is it to like watch? Is it to be like, cause like if we're doing the bird
right.
She watched. I love birds. Birds are so romantic.
F yeah.
They are. And the male birds are so pretty, and they do their little dance, and they build their little structures, and they hang out with their boys and do more dances, and the girls just watch, and they're just like, I like that.
Robin, you were making a point about dating, and then you were like, You want some bird facts?
Actually, yeah, let's just talk about birds for a bit now.
I think that animals like especially men are very competitive amongst each other, and I think it's in his mind. If he didn't know that I was talking to her, he wouldn't have tried to peacock himself out and push out his chest, right? And he was talking to her. They had a previous relationship, right? They weren't committed yet, but then when he seen me rolling around with her, he hits up his buddy and goes, "Hey, yo, ask Waters, is he with her?" And then I was like, "Yo, who's on the phone with you?" And my friend's name's Kondwani, he's African. He goes, "It's my friend right here." So I said, "Look, man," and I told him this on the phone too. And I'm like European, I was like, "Hey, man," I said, "We got a date on Thursday. It's Tuesday now." I was like, "You got 2 days to stop it."
2 days.
So I told him, "You got 2 days." So I knew in 2 days he's about to love bomb her, he's about to blitz her, he's about to do whatever. And I knew, but the thing is, she never knew that we spoke about it, right? Yeah. She didn't know, but he just happened to see me driving around. And then the day of our date, my goal was at the end of the day to drop her off at his house. Because I knew he was over there, smashing them yams. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, so you just drop her off at his house because he lived close by.
She wanted him to commit to him, right? But he never committed to her.
So you're like,
until I came around. Now he's trying to commit because now there's competition. Now it's like he was blowing her off.
But he's
everything
still smashing yams. So you're gonna drop her off at his house so she can see.
But she didn't know we knew each other.
Oh.
So that's why I was like, yeah, man, maybe I should. I was like, my goal is to drop her off at his house and be like, this is where you're at every night anyways. That was my plan. Then
That's crazy, Jared.
Yeah, I'm a petty person.
That's crazy.
Then she calls me from his house and goes, "Hey, I'm at his house. Can you pick me up for the date?"
Oh, she outplayed you.
Oh, I said, this chick is playing a different type of game right now.
You got outplayed.
3D chess.
So I was like, to disrespect him that way. It's like, hey, another dude's coming to pick me up. And I picked her up from his house. I never, this is an old friend. I'll never cock block, right? But as I'm taking her home, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And she's like debating on going back to his place. I was like, yeah. So I pull her up to his place, and I was like, and she goes, "What are you about to do?" As I'm heading back to my place. She said, "What are you about to do?" I was like, "The only thing open right now is IHOP and you." And I said, "I think he has access to both of it with no commitment." And then after that, she takes her car and just drives home.
So she didn't go in.
She didn't go in.
She didn't see him smashing the yams.
Option 3.
I didn't cock block at all, but I was just like, hey, if he's not going to commit, I was like, what's the point of committing if everything's free? What's the point of committing if everything's free? I said, but me, I'm trying to commit.
Were you?
At the time I was. Maybe, and that's peacocking, you know what I mean? It's just like, I thought she was pretty. I was like, man, I'll commit Evan. He's not going to do what I am. And I remember of her, like, it was between me and him. Like, the whole time I could tell, splitting her time. And then one time I was at her place, and she made me, the Pats lost, so she made me this feast. And I pretended to fall asleep on the couch just to see what would happen, right? And then she, like, wakes me up and goes, "Hey, let's go to bed," right? And I was like, as we're walking to her room, I open the door and leave and walk to my apartment. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I live over here, not here."
So this is like all just games? What is
My thing is like, you can never make me a side option ever. You got to choose. You can't play both. My thing is you can't be hot or you can't be lukewarm. You got to be hot or cold. You got to draw a line in the sand. Goes either him or I. I'm not gonna let you choose both. Right? A regular dude would take it. My thing is, I think a woman hates when you turn stuff down.
That is true.
Like I think a woman hates, and I learned that being in the Netherlands. Like when someone offers you something, especially a woman, and you turn that down, it hurts her most because now she's questioning herself a little bit.
What the fuck? Mostly because it's weird. It's like it's a new experience. It's like a rare experience.
Like,
it is jarring.
And the thing about being down south is we're in North Carolina is that they weren't used to all these mixed races. It's black, white, Mexican. I'm from around the world, so I've seen these mixes before. I know how they get down. So then the next night again, she invites me over again, and then I hit him up, and I could tell like he's over there, and I just tell him straight up, "Look, dog, you either marry her or get her pregnant. Those are the only two options because it's over." It's over. That's what I told him. It's over. It's over. She's our.
You on the phone or you in person?
We share a mutual friend. So it was just like, I just called him. I said, "Look, man, these are your," and I gave him advice too. You should get her married, go marry her, get her pregnant, because once she crosses over, I still gave him that. I gave him them grace periods. I gave him that time to be like, and my thing is this too. Like, even I'm not the right guy, but I'm gonna make sure you choose the right guy.
I feel like your style of dating is like supervillain.
Yes.
Like you're like the Joker. You're
Yeah,
like,
I am. Straight up. I am. I admit that.
You're like maneuvering.
It was like
you're
I
playing
watched
mind
nothing
games.
but Jigsaw game. You the Jigsaw? I want to play a game.
How old were you back then?
21, 20,
21. Would you still be that way now? Obviously, you're married. But
If I was in it, boy, they're lucky that I've been taken out. They're lucky I was out the game. And that's what, when my lady asked me about advice too, I was like, do you want me to give player advice? Do you want me to give married advice? Because I can give both. So, and this is the end of the story. So the last night, it was 2 days later, I told her what to do, right? She invites me over again to cook. And this time she goes, this time you're not leaving. True story. So game finishes.
And she tied you up?
No, we go. No, I'm wearing overalls. I love wearing overalls. We go to the bedroom, start making out, right? She pops off my overalls, and it's like when I'm super jacked, and then she's like trying to do stuff, right? And I was like, no. And she's like, why?
It does. It's like.
And I said, this doesn't belong to me. I believe it belongs to someone else. And I remember her just sitting in the bed, like looking at me. And I said, you got to make that choice. The thing about Jared Waters, he's not an option. And then I remember a month later, she was pregnant. They have 3 beautiful kids right now. And my thing is, all I'm asking is a thank you letter. That's all I'm saying. Because he couldn't commit until he met me. Give me some credit, baby.
So you're the villain the world needs you to be.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. They should give you their firstborn.
Yeah.
At least name him Jared.
They should have did that. And I think that, and my thing is, a lot of men don't commit until there's competition.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good idea.
So my thing is like,
ladies,
I'm gonna force him to commit.
Mm-hmm. I'm
taking him out the streets.
You could be hired for that, or at the very least, this could be a rom-com like storyline. Just like
someone who comes in and is obviously
get a guy to
But I love rom-coms. So my thing is, every relationship is a story. And if there's no plot, I have to create one. If there's no conflict, I have to create one so somebody can win. Someone has to win the girl. Someone has to do anything. And I just know sometimes when I just know, and I know 3, I don't know if they're still together, but I know they have 3 kids. And I remember when she was pregnant in class, and my friend goes, is that you? I was like, that's not me. That's not me. That's him. He did it. But
on the advice of Jared Waters.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Julian, you should start a small business where you follow the teachings of Jared Waters and you go on dates with women in order to make their situationships jealous.
There is a TV show, Man Seeking Woman, where they have that, I can't remember the exact storyline, but effectively the guy won't be exclusive, and then he sees them on a date, and immediately he's like, we should be exclusive.
You could be that matchmaker. You could be. I
don't know if I have Jared's moves though. That's the problem.
Well, we know you don't have Jared's moves. We know.
I learned that just being international. I remember a girl was talking to me like that, and I was like, man, why is she acting like that? And she had me. I was like, oh wow, it was the same game she ran on me. So, and I'm always aware. So like when I was dating that 26-year-old, well, she was a lunch lady still, but I would learn. My thing is like I feel like a lot of people don't learn in relationships, especially when you date older women. They teach you everything. So when I was like all these military dudes, they would leave and their wives would be on base, and I would be like hanging out with like their daughters and stuff. Then I would just be listening to stories. I was like, oh man, this is how the game is ran. So I would just listen, take notes, and apply what I learned, and realize that if you tell someone who you are, you can't get mad if you show them that's who you is. If you tell them, hey, I'm not here for commitments, I'm not here for anything else. So they're like, okay, boom. But the thing is, everyone's afraid to being who they are. So that's where you get the lies. That's where you can't commit. That's why, I thought you're an open relationship. Whatever it is like, just say who you are.
Yeah.
I think there's also a lot of times people maybe they want one thing at one time, or they want to be like one way at some point, and then the next day they're like, oh no, that was crazy. I just wanted to get her, and I
think Americans is more like the shame happens. Like in Europe, they're very open about everything. Like all these other countries are very open about sexuality and how they feel and expression, but then when you get here, it's just like you're conforming to what's around you.
Yeah, and there's I mean, I think dating in America too is like you've found it to be very much, or more so than in Australia, to be more like gender normative, like again, like women expecting that you pay for them.
Yeah, in Australia you're more likely to split.
Yeah, I think most of the world.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I was cheap. But you go for drinks, and I would get the first round, maybe the second round, and she'd get the third round.
It's not like that down south.
Oh no! I learned that here. Luckily, I learned it. But my first few dates here, I didn't. I would like offer to split or do something, and they weren't going so well these dates. I don't know why. And then someone told me the date before Robin. So then and with Robin I paid, and she was like, later on she was like, yeah, if you didn't pay.
I think I would have taken that really wrong.
There's such a thing about traditional, even though you're not even traditional, but someone has to be the dominant person. And I really feel that, like, even for me and my old lady, it's just like, I pay the rent, and I was like, your money is a bonus. You know what I mean? Because I'm from the era where I'm a provider. You know, even if she was making way more than me, I would still cover that because that's from that era, that class where my dad took care of everything, my granddad took everything, my brother is just like I grew up on that thing. But when I got to the Netherlands and Europe, I was like, oh wow, these guys don't do nothing at all. Yeah. But then when I got back, I realized like when you're in the land, you gotta abide by the rules of the land.
I mean, I don't know the race of your old lady, but I have found black women expect you to come correct much more than white women do, or women of other races.
Yeah, I never dated a white woman publicly, but I dated a white chick when I was 13. 13. And I remember I was from the South, so I was new, and I was like in Japan, but I wasn't used to like parents knowing information about me. Like, how the freak does why she know your mama know my name? But they were just like more open, like calling me. I was like, no, you can't be calling me in public. But my lady's from the Caribbean. She's Hispanic and Belizean. So it's just like, even the hardest thing for her was letting me pay certain things because she was an independent woman, and I was like, I got this. You can just kick back or whatever. And like when she was getting her green card, for a year she didn't work, and I freaking loved it. It just made me work harder. Like I was working super hard. Like, oh, here's $500, go get some books or everything else. It was like I just felt like I had like a new motivation to work hard. But then when she got that job, I was like, dang, she bossed up. She makes so much money. She put me on her health insurance.
I'm on her health insurance. Let's go.
She put me on her health insurance like a boss. But like it took me like all these situationships to get to this, because I was like, when I say petty, I remember one time I was in Orlando, Florida with this Brazilian chick, and she hustled me because she asked me to, we met at a place, we're hanging out, she's like, I want to go to this restaurant. Turns out it was a Brazilian restaurant. I'm already down because y'all speak in Portuguese, I don't speak Portuguese, right? And I remember like mad people kept coming up and talking to her the whole time. Then I was like, and I picked her up and I was like, you know what, man, I'm about to just bounce. I'm about to just roll the freak out. And then when she could tell I was getting like that, and then she goes, no, it's okay, I'm ready to go. So we pay for dinner, and then she goes, I really enjoyed myself, it was a great time. And I'm like, we didn't talk that much. You're talking to all your mad friends over there. And I was like, this is a family restaurant. And then she texts me the next day and goes, don't ghost me, tell me where we stand.
After one date.
Can I read that text message for y'all? Yeah. Now, I want to preface this is 2012, but I saved it because I used to close with it on stage. Oh, really? Okay, now let me explain. I prepared us for this part. This is like 2012, 2011, right? Before the date, she told me she was a poet, but she never performed it live before because she was scared. She has 2 kids. She had a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, right? And I think she just had bought a puppy. Okay, this is a true story. Yeah. Now, this is from like these old phones, and this is what I said. I'm going to read this. I said, I had some time to reflect. I'm pretty good at reading in between the lines and body language. Since you like closure, I guess I should speak my piece. I said, from the bottom of my heart, I wish I could have those 3 hours of my life back. If tonight was a closet, I wish I was Robin Williams. If tonight was Russian roulette, I would have kept all the bullets in the chamber. If tonight was the Little Rascals, I would have been alfalfa and rejoined the He-Man Women's Haters Club. If tonight you caught on fire, you needed 3 drops of spit, I'd swallow it, no Frank Ocean. I wish tonight we were on a date in Africa, and you got a paper cut, and you got Ebola in your left elbow. You couldn't hold a number 2 pencil again. I hope your kid never learns how to read. If tonight was Aladdin, I wish Abu bit me and gave me monkeypox. I wish we were never introduced. I can understand why you're single. If this conversation was a grade, you would receive an F-. I wish tonight you open up a random door into the Chronicles of Narnia and never come back. I hope your puppy gets bit by a raccoon and foams out the mouth.
Oh, no!
I hope your apartment has great Wi-Fi, but you don't have the Wi-Fi password. You can never check your email and you show up late to work. I wish you were on the Titanic. I said, your poem's mediocre. I said, nobody likes the poems that you write. I said, I wish you would have fell while walking in 4-inch heels. Not that you get hurt, but your ankle hurts really bad. I said, I wish you slept with Magic Johnson in the 80s and got a book deal. I said, you're like the sweat underneath Rick Rock's breast. I hope Tupac comes back and writes a song about you tonight. I wish you were in North Korea. I was like, I'm just kidding. But seriously, good luck in life. This was the worst date I ever had in my life. Thank you. Have a great night.
Was it actually the worst date you ever been on in your life?
I think I was just really
You were in your feelings about it?
I don't like people wasting my time, right? But that was like a waste of my time. And the thing about it is, it was so funny. I knew she couldn't show anybody the text message because they would laugh. Anybody, like you can't, like they would
They'd be like, this is...
It took her a week to respond.
I like that you were like, I hope you trip on your heels. Not that you would get hurt, just that your ankle would hurt a little bit.
So my thing is like, when I'm thinking of something, it's like, dog, so if you can't show anybody this response because they're going to laugh. Any dude that watches this, you show it to your girls like, oh my God, girl, I hope your kids don't know how to read. So like, I think it took her, she did respond. It took her a week to respond back. I think I wrote down, she goes, seriously, that's messed up for you to say. I was not lying. My friend was telling me drama about her boyfriend. It was just not the right time. She goes, you're a douchebag. I don't appreciate you talking about my children. They're very smart.
My kids can't read.
She goes, I gave you that. She goes, I gave that stupid dog away. Your poetry is lame. I don't even write poetry. She goes, those few hours were a waste. That's why I cut it short. No wonder why you're single and I lose my number. Don't text me again, I'm blocking you. It took you a week to come up with that. I already inflamed you. So my thing is like, I gotta control the narrative. I gotta let you know that even if it's not me, the next time you go out, you're going to know I'm not going to waste another dude's time. I have no problem being the sacrificial lamb for men around the world.
I feel like she's going to, like if we found that woman, I feel like she was like, and that I started performing my poetry after that. Like she's like.
Are you the villain? Is your story that all these people who do these great things in life were burned by you at some point?
They were inspired by me. You know? Those are like every other date has been great dates. I've always like my lady's first date, our first date, we saw the Avengers movie at matinee. Then after that, I took her to Disney World, and we stayed there the whole day, rode all the rides. When the fireworks came, we made out. Then after that, we got dinner, and she stayed at the house, and I turned the temperature on 50 degrees, so she was freaking cold. Then she's like, you want to snuggle? And I was like, yeah, that's what this blanket's here for.
This villainous planning.
And I proposed on the first day.
No, you did not.
On the first day, I proposed. Just playing around. Someone took a picture, like on the end of the day, I was like, man, this day is so beautiful. I think we should just make it official. And she just started laughing, and people started taking pictures. And then when we got engaged, I just recreated our first date all over again.
Same place?
In a different country, in like France. But my thing is all about rom-coms. It has got to be a story. There's got to be a hero. There's got to be a villain. There's got to be a protagonist. There got to be everything.
Do you remember what you said? You got down on one knee.
Yeah.
You remember what you said?
First date?
Yeah, the first date.
I said, let's make this official. Right in front of Mickey Mouse. It was like this, and people started clapping. Like thousands of people started clapping. Clapping. She's like, I don't know who this guy is. This is our first date. I don't know who he is. She was laughing. She was laughing, yeah. But it was just like, we did everything. Like, we went on rides, and she just had it was her first time ever meeting Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
So she had like her ears on, and then like for our engagement, she could tell we're getting engaged because we're going to meet Mickey in France. And then he hands her a letter, and the letter was just like me saying how much I loved her. Then when she finished it, I got down, gave her a rock, and it was over. The ice.
Thank God it wasn't the text message from earlier.
Yeah.
But that's what I learned in Europe. Like when you finish dating a chick in the Netherlands, they let you know, you wasted my time.
You wasted it.
You are not nice. You're too forward. You try to stay at my house too long. And I was like, I'll never let anybody waste my time at all. And if you do, I got to let you know. I could have been the bigger person, but I was like, nah.
No, that's no fun.
Nah, why would you bring me here to like waste my time? I'm talking about.
She was just being very rude. Like she was like talking to everybody else.
In her mind, it wasn't rude because this was family.
Oh.
So like people walking,
It was her
girl,
family.
like just like y'all Brazilians, so y'all threw the bang and start doing like that to the point where I was like, dog, I'm about to bounce because this is a waste of time. It was just like coming back and check. It's like bringing to someone to a family barbecue and they don't know nobody.
And they're speaking Portuguese.
Right. It's like that. So I'm like talking to
that's
people
rude.
I'm not supposed to talk to. I'm talking to random cousins and stuff. And then I was like, man, and this was me a writing exercise. Like, man, how can I really flame this up? But like,
How long did it take you to write that?
I had like a couple comics help me tag it up. They're like, so what you think about this? No. Add the Magic Johnson.
You went Nikki Glazer on it. You had a room.
Add the Magic Johnson. And I think to this day, when I'm on, she's gonna leak that text message and be like, "This is from Jared Waters. This is from that guy from that show. That's Jared Waters." But I was like, "Yeah, I'm petty McPatty."
The best part of her response is this: she ignored everything and was like, "My kids can read."
That's what she defended her kid and defended the dog. So like, my kids
got
can
rid
read.
of that dog.
It took her 7 days to respond. She couldn't respond. It was too much.
She got rid of the dog because it got bit by a raccoon. It was foaming at the
It's
mouth.
foaming at the mouth. Everything that you told me, I turned it into a joke. So my thing is like, you can't even say anything because he turned it into a joke. How can you not read that and not laugh?
No.
Even if you're upset with me, you gotta be like, this guy's still going. Like, imagine the text. This is like text.
The funniest is I just realized her first message to you was, "Don't ghost me. Tell me where we stand."
Yeah.
It's like you're like, you should let me ghost you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know where we stand.
I think she's probably letting people ghost her now.
Yeah, she's like, all her
like,
friends
you
are
know
like,
what, I'd
just
rather
text. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Probably whoever.
Just text. Nothing's gonna happen.
I was like, you had
That
a
was
kid and
ex by a
child.
first date.
But I like my thing is all about fun, right? My thing is like heroes, villains, everything's a story. So I gotta feel like, where am I in the story to you, right? My thing is like I think every man, every person is like a portrait, right? The reason why Picasso stood out because he drew a picture that no one else drew. So we all got the same tools. Every man has the same tools. You got your paint. You got your canvas, right? But my goal is to draw a picture that no one's seen before, so you can never compare me to anybody.
I think you
So
succeeded there.
if you ever met me, you're like, oh, there's no one like Jared Waters.
No.
It could be a good, bad story, whatever, but it's like, no, there's no one like him because we either gonna have super much fun or you never been explored to this side of the world. It's like, you gotta just be very unique, right?
I mean, I think your lady you were the first person ever to propose to her on a first date.
First date, I think I told her I had a giraffe when we first met each other. She's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I bought a giraffe back in 2007." And she was like, didn't believe a lot of stuff, but it was just like, you gotta keep it guessing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like everybody's a book. If you're a freaking the little flippy books, every chapter should be different.
Never let them guess your next
Never
move.
let them guess your next move. Now my lady knows all my steps and everything else because she's been with me so long. But like when people would meet me like that, I've never met a dude like this. Oh, he's speaking another language. He knows how to line dance. He knows how to do this. But it's like just being explored to everything.
Line dancing is getting big now.
Yeah, I remember when it wasn't. It was just like us.
Just you out
Just
there.
you.
It's
out
me
there.
and these other black dudes just cowboy and line dancing and stuff. But like, I think everybody should just live around the world and explore like what like body language is, like knowing like simple things like holding someone's pinky. You know, that's such your pinky is the most sensitive finger.
Is it?
Yeah, man, you feel that. Like if
Could be someone else. Give me
like
your
if
pinky.
someone's walking,
Let's see.
think about that. If someone's holding your hand, like, yeah, imagine y'all two on a date, right? You're two on a date, no, but y'all walking. And he's, look, like this. Y'all know how to hold pinkies?
You just hold pinkies like that?
But no. As you're walking, imagine you guys are both walking like this and he holds your pinky, you're going to hold the rest of his hand. Right?
Like I'll grab the rest of it?
No. We're walking.
Okay.
We're walking
Jared's
like this. I'm the girl, right?
Okay.
And he goes like this. Your natural response is to grab the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just learning just different things, like subtle movements to know, like, hey, I'm letting you know I'm comfortable with this. You got to do the rest. Right?
So you dated people from all over the world. You've also, you have a joke about this, so I don't know if it's true, but you've also dated people of various age ranges.
Yeah.
So you dated a much older woman at one
Old
point.
people, yeah. Straight up.
Oh, people, it's plural.
Old
Oh,
folks.
you dated multiple older people.
Yeah, old folks.
And
Old folks.
the woman who you made a joke about, she was like, was it 50? What was she?
Yeah, like 50 something, 50. We were like hooked up. We were like a serious, but it was like to the point where I had to tell her like, "Nah, you're older than my grandmother. Like we can't." But it was the fact of her being so surprised that I was interested in her life, like so interested. Like, no, let's go, let's hang out, let's see what can happen. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. And it was more her insecurity about being with a young man, about like being insecure, like, oh, you can't drive, you can't rent a car, you can't do everything else. And it's like, you're roasting me, but you're really just insecure because you're out with a younger man.
Yeah, I always have dated younger people, but I've never dated somebody that much younger. But now, so I'm 40 now, and I was thinking about it. And we're open, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, I like abs. That's what I like. And if I'm going to keep dating men with abs, I'm either going to be dating people my own age who are on testosterone, or they're starving, like real hungry. And not, those people aren't fun. Or I'll be dating people who are much younger than me.
And it's a different phase now because a lot of young men are into older women now because they want a woman that has everything together.
Because they're like, I can't afford this date, but you can.
Right, yeah. I mean, like that too. Or just like, it's a shocking value because as an older woman, you're just like, this dude is like, I'm like 21, and you're like, he's approaching me. And like, yeah, what's going on? What's up with it? So you're shocked in the moment, but at the same time, you're unlocking things like, oh, wow, what?
Yeah, because I was having this like thought experiment on the train, and I was like, would I feel like a predator, or like if like a young 21-year-old started hitting on me, like when I was younger, I remember teenagers hitting on me and me feeling like I'm gonna be arrested, like this is, and so and this would be an even bigger age gap. Somebody who's like say 21 and I'm 40, that would be an even bigger age gap than when I was like 25 and they were 16 or whatever. So it's just, like, would I feel like a predator? But also, like, if they're really, like, forward, I've never really liked it when men have been like that. Anytime a man is, like, super forward with me, I'm like, oh, you're a predator. So
it's the shame on women. It's how it's sexist. Like, we don't say anything about men marrying women half their age. Mm-hmm. But when a woman marries a man half their age, like, oh, what's she like? You're not comparing baby pictures?
No.
Look at all these old billionaires, and they're just with these young, hot chicks. Bill Belichick.
That one's crazy. That one's weird.
I think they just broke up.
24. But I mean, just think about just how like you see like these men when they remarry, it's like someone 27. Look at
young,
what's the dude's name from Growing Pains?
It's just all of them. It's all
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's just like when a man's with an older woman, it's like, what's the point of that? Like that's wisdom. Like you're learning.
I think that there's also like I had a roommate who used to always date older women, and his favorite thing was to date older women who were just in town, like married women who are just in town, and he's like, they're crazy, like they're there for sex, and they know exactly what they want, they know exactly what they like, and they want me, and like that he just didn't get that with girls his own age. Yeah.
I think older women from back when this is a long time since I've been on that pony, but older women were more forward, right? It reminded me of like being with Europeans, and they would tell you exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I'm not doing that, or you should do this, or you should do that. So it's like there was no games to be played. You couldn't really play them because they were down for anything. Mm-hmm. The only thing is just like they already were married, they can't have kids anymore, so they're literally just, let's have fun.
Let's have fun.
Let's have fun. So it's like that, and I guess I didn't even think about it. Just me being 16 with a 26-year-old. I guess it was crazy, but in the moment it wasn't crazy.
Well, when you're 16,
because it's like we're this peacock. I'm like high fiving everybody else. They're like, what? But I remember like.
Would she serve you? You would see her?
Yeah.
So and everyone knew, and everyone was. You'd go and get
just
food.
Like my homies knew until like one dude who was a part of the crew, was hating and told the chick I was talking to, and once he told one person, it was just like spread. But my thing is, I never snitched.
Did she ever get in trouble? Or no,
I'm not a snitch.
Did she give you extra food?
Yeah, that's how it was. That's how she just kept giving me extra cheese fries the whole time. And then like my track coach was the one that goes, man, you should talk to her. And my track coach was like, he's some young, but I'm saying how military, he's like 19. Mm-hmm, I'm 16. He's like my track coach. But I remember that in like her mind, or her mind is like, oh, this was like a phase that you forgot about, right? Like, oh wow, he's 16, but at the same time he's mature. He's not, anything else. And then I knew it was bad until one time I was working in Germany, and this little high school kid I was talking to him. I used to work with his mom. He goes, "Oh, that's Jared Waters." He's like, "He's an Afnorth legend." And I said, "What you know about Afnorth?" Because he went to the high school. And he goes, "Is it true about the lunch lady?" And I was like, freak. And I really realized when I'm in a party and like all these kids, they were freshmen, now they're like seniors, and I remember like talking to them, and they're smoking cigars, they're partying, and I'm like, "Dog, you gotta chill." And they're like, "Dude, Jared, we got it from you, man." I was like, "What you mean you got it from me?" It's like, "Dude, you were a senior, like letting us hang, and I was like, freak, I forgot. So I realized, like when I got older, I was like, man, maybe I've left a bad influence on these young. They wrestle with me, so like I never was into like letting people feel like they couldn't be access to me. It's like, "You want to come to a party? I'll take you to a club. Come on, let's go." You only had to be 16 to go. And then I realized, like, as I got older, I was like, "Oh, man," this kid was like, "Yeah, you're with the lunch lady, right?" And I was like, "Who told you that story?" He goes, Everybody knows. He goes, "That was the story, man." And then I remember one time we were all at a club, and the lunch lady was there.
Oh, wow.
And because we all partied, and then she's like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, it's freaking true. There she goes. There she goes." But she looked beautiful, like outside of the lunchroom.
Yeah,
she had like mini skirt on, and everybody realized, like, "Oh, that's really just." I was like, "Yeah, man."
Like a looking lady.
Hey, man.
She left the hairnet on, or did she take it?
But the thing is, the Netherlands was just like, how do I explain it? Like your job matches what, like a homeless person at 40. If you're like 40 and unemployed, your job matches what a 40-year-old would make. So like imagine if you're 40 years old, they would pay you what a 40-year-old person would make in life instead of like a 21-year-old. So like her job, it was like a good paying job. She wasn't like broke or anything else. She just met somebody that just woofed her off her feet. And if you think about it, and you're not from America, so you don't know what black people's age are. You never met black Americans. You mean black Dutch people. So you mean like, different type of Africans, but you mean like people who were like big muscles, everything else. We're driving cars. So in her mind, she's like, "Oh, this is what Americans are."
Yeah, they're big, they're old.
I think that
These big, sexy Americans.
you probably, when you were in Australia, you probably had a thing about like American girls, like what they were supposed to be about.
There's a thing about American men. There was a riot during World War II because all the American soldiers were here. Have you heard this?
Go ahead.
I'm sure you have, but all the Australians were mad because the Americans were basically taking their girls. And they were chanting, "We don't like the Americans. They're overpaid, they're oversexed, and they're over here." And that was the chant, because the Americans would come and they got paid more than our soldiers, and then they would like buy the girls things and I think having sex with the local girls, and the Australian men were like, "Get him out of here.
Get him out.
We'll fight the Japanese ourselves. We don't need." I don't give a shit. Do you have to go? It's 6:30 now.
Hold on. I'll tell another story. This is what my grandfather told me. His best friend's name was Harold. So during World War II, like the sexual revolution started like through racism. Like racism made black men like wanted, because I remember my aunt told me when they integrated the school system, they would tell all these stories about war. My uncle, when he served, he said like when they were hooking up with all these chicks from Thailand and everything else, all the girls would get out of the bed at 12 o'clock in the morning, because all the white soldiers told all the girls out there that the black men turned into monkeys at 12 o'clock in the morning. So they would tell all these stories like that. So then he told me, I was like, "What happened?" So he told me that he was laying with this chick, and she got out the bed and like moved away from the windows. It's like she saw the moon. And he goes, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" She goes, "I'm waiting for you to turn into a monkey." And then my uncle goes, "They told you I turned into a monkey?" She goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I do turn into a monkey, but the tail isn't in the back of the body.
Oh.
It's in the front of the body." He told me that story. He has dementia now, but he told me that story. And my grandfather's friend Harold told me when they got over there during World War II and stuff, they weren't used to like all these giant Afro pics, because they put all the black people on the front line. So when they got there, everybody knew they were free, and they were just hooking up with European chicks, and they weren't used to it. So out there in Europe, there's all these swirly people because all these Americans came out there and made all these babies. So like it's like a thing about in America, like sometimes like black people are like the minority, but around the world, they just love us. They're like, "Tupac is my favorite artist, man. Tupac." I was like, "I'm not from Baltimore." "Tupac, man, 50 Cent." I was like, "I'm not from Queens." But it's like the thing of what you see all the time over and over again is entertainment, is all this. So when you get over there, you're kind of like a C-list celebrity.
I think Trevor Noah has a joke about this, about how black African American men are like just the coolest. Everywhere in the world, they are the coolest that you can be. So if an African American man, a black man, tells you, compliments you, it's the highest compliment. I picked out a coat for Julian it's great. It's a fantastic coat, but he doubted me, and he was. I
didn't like it.
He didn't like it.
I wore it because she was mad.
Yeah, and he wore it, and then a couple black guys complimented on him. Now he.
That's true story.
Take that fucking
He
coat
loves
off.
that shirt now.
I wear it to bed. That's
He
I went into a suit supply because I was renting a suit for a friend's wedding, but I had that, and I walked in, and this black guy goes, "Oh, it's a nice jacket."
Yeah, look at these threads.
He's like, oh.
And then this is the worst part. Then I was at work, and because they're like, "Are you wearing the jacket?" I thought you didn't like it. I was like, "Black guy complimented it." And they were like, "No, he didn't. You've been dumb." And then we're walking to a work function, and a random black guy goes, "I like that jacket." I was like, "It keeps happening. It keeps happening."
That's the barometer of cool. So.
But yeah, in Australia, when I was in an amateur basketball league, we were allowed one foreign player. That was and there would always be like an ex-American college player, and usually a black guy. But we had a lot of just Africans, not American at all, just on our team. And it was funny because culturally they were very different. These were Africans who were like quite religious. They were like nothing like Americans, but they really gravitated around the one black American who was on our team, and they thought he was the coolest. Even though
he was the coolest. I don't know anything else about him.
None of them drank. He drank. Like they were totally different culturally, but they were like, yeah, I'm down with that guy.
Something about Americans, man. Because even my lady, when she met me, and I think I say sometimes you got to save all the romance for the right one, So I throw out my big stops for my lady. So like dates, freaking all. I remember when we first dated, she didn't like me like recording, but now I have all the recordings from like 13, 14 years ago.
Aww.
So it's like you literally get to see our love from like a timeline to this. So she would always ask me something like, "Did you used to do these other girls?" I was like, "I was a player. I didn't do this with nobody."
I was the worst. This is the text message I sent.
I wasn't like that at all. I was like, what? No, I wasn't out there. But she was like, "What were you like on the streets?" Like, I was a menace. I was wild out here.
You got to send me that text so we can reuse it. And it's going to spread it around.
I remember when I found my other phone, like took pictures and I was going through my old phone. I was like, "Man, look at this text." And then I remember I was like, just being like, "Man, you remember this text message?" Like, yeah, but I remember like twice where I sent like 2 text messages to people who just like, they just rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, usually I let everything go. I'm more of like a Jedi now. I'm more like Yoda. Everyone who's ever wronged me, I've let it go. I forgave them. But like when I was 21, if you said anything to me, I was definitely, that's what my dad used to tell me when I was a kid. Leave it alone. Just let it go. You need to let it go. Love's like a TKO. What a callback to the beginning.
Callback.
We better cut it off here then. We'll let you get out of here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank y'all for having me.
Oh, wait, we got to say, we'll try and release this as soon as possible. Tell us about where they can find you in your new special.
Which camera are we looking at?
Yeah, it's good.
If you're on YouTube, type in Jared Waters. My Don't Tell special's out called The South is Actually Progressive. If you're on TikTok, Instagram, social media, type in Jared Waters, Mr. Waters. If you see a black dude on a horse, that is I. Thank you for letting me on these apps.